फ्रेशर्स को हमारे एजुकेशन सिस्टम ने बहुत सारे ड्रीम्स दिखाए हैं और उन ड्रीम्स के बेसिस वीक है. उनको ये बताया नहीं है कि एक्चुअली कंपनी कैसी होती है, काम कैसे होता है. इंडस्ट्री से एकेडमिया का रिलेशनशिप ही नहीं है. इंटर्नशिप इज अ ग्रेट हैक बिकॉज that is your shortest and least bleeding path to experience a candidate and for the candidate to experience you. If you are planning to start up, all I can say is that you don't need to pretend to be a visionary. You are a visionary. Your vision can be small or big, doesn't matter. कौन से VC ने आपको फंड किया है, ये देखकर आपके पास आ रहा है, वैसे भी गलत हायर है. Because that person is definitely coming for the money that you carry. They can still bring the right skill to table, but there is a problem, small problem. Campus hiring is a great way to actually build, but before even we talk about campus hiring, I'm going to talk about trade-off between hiring freshers and hiring experienced people. Hiring freshers is a time-consuming, slow, bleeding sort of way because पहले आप fresher को लेके आते हैं, choose करने का आपके पास कोई hard तरीका नहीं है. You are going to, figure them out through tests, IQ, psychometric analysis, and some random projects. But fact is that they are going to experience you and you are going to experience them and they start working with you. And because they are a fresher, they don't know how to work. That's the deal. You're going to teach them. And teaching them is going to be hard, painful, costly process, especially on time. And that simply means that if you are not able to teach them, if they're not able to learn, it's going to be an absolute waste. If they learn and they leave, it is going to be a bigger waste. But you can only gun for that they will learn and stay. And you need to figure out if you hire 10 people and if 2 of them learn and stay, if that upside looks like an upside, that's the only time when you go for hiring freshers. If you feel that 8 people not working out is going to be catastrophic for you, don't go for freshers. But hiring from campus or hiring freshers in general, my experience and opinion is that there are very few roles where freshers can be really valuable. Roles where you believe that you can teach, roles where you have at least a 6 to 12 month, runway before they can become really productive. But if you have that, hiring freshers and training them is probably the best thing ever because that becomes a cycle through which you start manufacturing talent. Because one of the biggest problems that you only experience after hiring experienced people, and especially जब आप ये 3 से 5 साल वाले experience के लोग hire करते हो across the board, engineers, marketers, sales, ये लोग सिर्फ सीख के नहीं आते हैं, ये लोग बहुत कुछ खराब भी सीख के आते हैं. Every company teaches them the good and the bad, and the good and the bad, while you are trying to use the good, the bad becomes the baggage. In developers, it is so hard that if their coding practices were inefficient, bad, poor, it is extremely hard to make that developer unlearn that. आप उसको अपना stack सिखा सकते हो, आप उसको अपने कोडिंग का तरीका सिखा सकते हो, पर उसकी unlearning कराना impossible नहीं है, पर बहुत costly process है. In fact, developer का intent चाहिए because they also have to agree first that their coding practice is inefficient or poor. And if they don't believe it, then you are screwed to no end because now they're not going to change their ways anyway. And it may not work for you. So freshers are great from that perspective, that they don't know what they don't know. There is no unlearning required. There's only learning. So this is a plain canvas, white slate. You can write whatever you want. And they can actually embody your company's DNA from very, very early. When does fresher and campus hiring doesn't work? फ्रेशर्स को हमारे एजुकेशन सिस्टम ने बहुत सारे ड्रीम्स दिखाए हैं और उन ड्रीम्स के बेसिस वीक है. उनको ये बताया नहीं है कि एक्चुअली कंपनी कैसी होती है, काम कैसे होता है. इंडस्ट्री से एकेडमिया का रिलेशनशिप ही नहीं है, ऑलमोस्ट जीरो है. अगर आप देखोगे तो सीए, लॉयर, डॉक्टर ये ठीक ठाक ही निकल जाते हैं अगर खराब भी हो तो. क्यों? क्योंकि इनका इंडस्ट्री से कनेक्शन बहुत स्ट्रांग है. आप लॉयर बन ही नहीं सकते बिना किसी लॉयर के ऑफिस में कई सालों तक घिसे हुए, बिकॉज इट्स अ पार्ट ऑफ योर प्रोसेस टू डू द लॉ. आई डोंट नो इफ डिग्री pushes you to do that. For example, in CA, articleship is important. So degree pushes you to do that. In medical, all interns. That's why अगर खराब डॉक्टर भी होगा तो डॉक्टर लाइक डॉक्टर तो निकल ही जाता है. मतलब वो क्लिनिक खोल के बेसिक काम तो कर ही सकता है. CA और कुछ करे ना करे रिटर्न फाइल कर ही लेता है, मतलब क्योंकि आर्टिकलशिप में उसको घिस दिया जाता है. एक अच्छा लॉयर जरूर किसी बड़े लॉयर का असिस्टेंट बनता है क्योंकि प्रैक्टिस ही तब हो सकती है. और बाकी हमारे वो BCom, BBA, MBA, इंजीनियर और भी कौन सी डिग्रीज होती है ऐसी वाली, सबका सत्यानाश हो रखा है. बिकॉज कोई तरीका नहीं है उनको एक्चुअली काम करवाने का while the degree is going on. बीटेक वालों ने मान लिया है कि एम्प्लॉयमेंट इज माई बर्थ राइट एंड वी विल हैव इट. बीकॉम वालों ने मान लिया है एम्प्लॉयमेंट वॉज नॉट बिल्ट फॉर अस, वी विल डू MBA. बोथ आर स्टूपिड बिकॉज बच्चों की इसमें कितनी गलती है या नहीं है, वी विल नॉट गो ऑन दैट टैंजेंट, इट्स फॉर सम अदर डे. बट एजुकेशन सिस्टम ने बेचा तो गलत है, इसमें कोई शक नहीं है मुझे. कॉलेज ने डिग्री गलत बेच दी है, that's sure. That's for sure. So the point is that if you are a small startup, if you are an early stage company, and if you are trying to hire from campuses, or if you are hiring absolute freshers from these degrees, there is a very high chance that there is going to be an eventual mismatch in that candidate's life view and your startup's journey. And it has nothing to do with whether your company is big or small. It has nothing to do with whether you are doing great or not. मैंने actually experience किया है कि some candidate after 1 year of working with us, doing fine, nothing stellar, nothing bad, doing absolutely fine, winging through life, suddenly said, "Oh, I want to resign." So क्यों? मेरा ना बचपन से ड्रीम है कि मेरे को साइबर हब में जॉब करनी है. Like which company? There is a company. I said, but ये important नहीं है. Cyber hub में office होना important है. She said, okay, fair. That's okay. But now this is a very poor loss. This candidate was not saying that your office is bad or good. This candidate was also not saying that your company is bad or good or your work is bad or good. This candidate was actually like an absolute stupid loss for us because we invested in them. They worked for a year, could have bloomed, could have done so much well for us and probably for themselves as well in that journey. पर ये हम discover ही नहीं कर पाए, वो candidate भी discover नहीं कर पाया. And before that, they moved on. Now, this mismatch in view of how the life is actually going to cost you more. So freshers, campus hiring, my recommendation is that while you can find relatively cheaper talent in money, but there is a very high chance that retention is going to become difficult and they will not be cheaper on time. They will be actually much more expensive on time. So while hiring freshers, calibrate what exactly is the requirement, where does this match, how does this how will we retain them for next at least 3 years. One hack I can tell you is internships. Internships are a great hack not to get work done. In fact, I'm quite against getting valuable work done from people in internships. I don't think it's exploitation fully, but I also think that it can be a little flimsy and fragile for your company as well. At the end of the day, that person is an intern. They don't really know the work well right now. So you would not want them to contribute to something that is core or very, very important to your business as well. Internship is a great hack because that is your shortest and least bleeding path to experience a candidate and for the candidate to experience you. For a candidate to come and work with you, beside you, जिसमें आप दोनों की जो रिलेशनशिप है वो लूजली कपल्ड है. उसको पता है उसको 6 महीने बाद जाना है, आपको पता है इसको 6 महीने बाद जाना है. So that means this is the most beautiful relationship. That means if you continue them after 6 months or if they continue with you after 6 months, this marriage is going to have some life. It's going to work out in some way. And internships जो है वो costly on time है. Because अगर मैं कह रहा हूँ कि एक fresher को आप आज hire करते हैं, तो you should have at least 6 months by the time they will become productive. Intern के लिए ये period 12 महीने है और वो आपके साथ 12 महीने की internship नहीं कर सकता. तो that means अगर आप किसी को 2, 4 या 6 महीने की internship देते हैं, तो technically you are building a pipeline for 12 to 18 months from now. Because हो सकता है वो 3rd year में हो, 2nd year में हो सकता है उनकी graduation में 1-1.5-2 साल का time हो. And catching that early will actually tell you, are they culture fit? Is their view of what work life is matching your work life view? What if they come and they love your office, they love your environment, they love, working with you, they will love working with people that you have, they love working in your culture. Boom, you have somebody who's perfect and built for you. And if not, there's no loss. There's no loss to the candidate. There's no loss to you. But my recommendation is that if you go the internship way, stay away from remote. Try to make it in person. Don't look at internships to get work done for low cost or free. Look at internship as a vehicle to create a hiring pipeline which can solve your hiring 12, 18 and 24 months from now. Because आज आप हायरिंग के लिए परेशान हो, सच ये है कि एग्जैक्टली 2 साल बाद भी आप हायरिंग के लिए परेशान रहने वाले हो. उससे भी बड़ा सच ये है कि आप 10 साल बाद भी हायरिंग के लिए परेशान रहने वाले हो. सो अगर कोई भी ऐसी पाइपलाइन, कोई भी ऐसा स्ट्रक्चर आप क्रिएट कर सकते हो जो आपकी हायरिंग आज से 2 साल और 4 साल बाद सॉल्व कर सकता है, इन्वेस्ट टाइम इन दैट, बिकॉज टाइम इज द ओनली थिंग दैट यू हैव इन अबंडेंस. बाकी तो सब परेशानी में चल रहा है. हाउ टू कन्विंस experienced professionals, experienced people to join your startup? As a founder, your belief in the mission, no matter how unique or simple your idea is, no matter how easy it is to understand what is it that you are trying to do or difficult, no matter how new, novel the concept is or how, done to that death, the point is, the concept is, the idea is. Fact is that as a founder, you are starting this business or you're doing this startup because you see something that world doesn't. There's always this insight, and as we call it, disproportionate insight about that market, about that product, about that service that you carry as a founder, the gap, the vacuum, the loophole, where you are trying to fit in your company. And that perspective is always unique. It's always something that world doesn't see. It's always something that even if world sees, does not interpret it the same way. They are not articulating it the same way. They may not understand the customer's pain same way. They may not have the same sensitivity towards it. You may, there may be a blockchain in the world, but maybe you are looking at blockchain differently. There may be enough blockchain ideas in the world, but maybe you are looking at the implementation differently. There can be social networks in the world, but maybe you are thinking about people connecting differently. There may be an Instagram in the world, but maybe you are a Snapchat who basically comes and says, hey, you know what? While the world is trying to look at social media and photos and memories sharing as memories are for a lifetime, maybe world doesn't need it. Maybe world wants to share and make the memory disappear within 24 hours. Now that was That was a way to look at the same thing. It was still a social network. You were still sharing, stuff within, a close group of people. This disproportionate insight about probably the simplest looking business on earth is what you carry as a nuclear power as a founder. You have one job, and this is one job that you have to convince the right people, fire up their imagination to work with you. This may sound a little cliched, but I'm assuming that if you're watching this, and if you are somebody who has already started up or who's already, on the way, you already know this. If you are planning to start up, all I can say is that you don't need to pretend to be a visionary. You are a visionary. Your vision can be small or big, doesn't matter. But you have a vision. You have something that you feel differently about a certain domain or a certain product. Bring that to table. People who you want to hire and who are experienced or who you believe don't have dearth of jobs, dearth of opportunity, and you want them, for your startup, you will have to fire up their imagination. You will have to, instead of making a pitch about working with you, you need to make a pitch about why they should be working with your mission, why they should be working with you, why they should be working with your idea. And one thing that has consistently always, worked for me, and I've seen it working for almost everyone, is that people work with people. And if they are experienced, that means they understand it even more. That means they know that how important it is to work with people or with the right set of people, with people who you enjoy working with. As a founder, when you are recruiting, focus on that. When you focus on the mission that you are on, when you focus on why are you on that mission, when you focus on what is it that you think of this, people get smitten. People really want to be a part of that story. There are some don'ts here. A lot of people think that it is easy to lure somebody because you are going to become $100 million or you're going to become a unicorn. No, absolutely not. And I'm not trying to sell you the crap, your money doesn't mean everything. But fact is that money is not everything. I am defining people who actually are worth their salt. They don't have dearth of jobs. They don't have lack of opportunity. They are choosing, or they have the power to choose. This also doesn't mean that they have jobs lining outside their door, but it simply means that they are not desperate for it. They know that मिल जाएगी, कुछ अच्छा काम तो ढूंढ ही लेंगे. ऐसे लोग ये जानना चाहते हैं कि आप कौन हो, आप कहां से आ रहे हो, more than your investors. In this, I will share one personal bias that I have. जब भी मैं किसी स्टार्टअप के एक्सप्लेनेशन में या किसी पिच में पढ़ता हूं ना, founders are from XYZ, it can be IITs, IIMs, Harvards and Stanfords. जब मैं पढ़ता हूं कि we have XYZ VC as my investor, it can be the Sequoias of the world and Matrix of the world or Nexus of the world or any large, Silicon Valley investor. I don't feel bad about any of this, but I feel bad about the fact that these people, whoever are hiring, they either did not find themselves, their story, their mission, their purpose strong enough to capture imagination of somebody who should work with them, or their belief in it is lacking. That's why they are bringing all these ornaments to table and saying ki, oh, by the way, you know what? We have this validation and we have this validation and we are from here. If it works for them, it works for them. I'm happy for them. But I don't feel good about it. I personally believe that person is coming to work with you. They're not going to work for Sequoia. They're going to work with you, build with you. They're not going to work with IIT. And there's nothing against Sequoia or IoT or any other brand of any type and kind. They have their value. But I'm saying when you're hiring, such things ideally shouldn't matter, because unfortunate reality is that they don't matter. Nobody cares. अगर कोई कौन से VC ने आपको फंड किया है ये देखकर आपके पास आ रहा है, वैसे भी गलत हायर है, because that person is definitely coming for the money that you carry. They can still bring the right skill to table, but there is a problem, small problem. Whenever that money is over, they will leave. So you're marrying very, very clearly for money. If both parties understand it, it's very cool. I don't think it's a bad idea. Like it's like gold digger of any gender, doesn't matter. So far, both the parties agree. If the gold digger knows that the other party knows that he or she is a gold digger, so then it's a beautiful relationship, because the relationship is going to remain till the gold remains. But the real game is that you're recruiting for mining, and there's going to be so much dirt, there's going to be so much pressure, there's going to be humidity, there's going to be all kind of crap falling from all different directions. There's going to be little gold here and there, and there's a very high chance that after years of toiling, there may not be gold or enough gold. And you need people who are going to work in those mines with you. You don't want people who are coming to a gold mine with a known amount of gold, where exactly it is, take it out, and if they don't get it or they get it, in both cases they leave. You don't want that. So hire yourself. Talk to these people. They're not going to come to you in a day. Serendipity can happen. There can be chances. So, but serendipity cannot be the plan. Locate these people. Reach out to them. Talk to them early. Tell them about your vision. Don't over-index on it. Don't try to over-project your vision. Talk about your next milestone. Talk about your next 1 year. Talk about probably the smallest, most optimistic image of your own startup or your product or your company to them. Give them that view which is relatable, which is practical, to which they can draw your path. And then walk on it. Continue talking to them. Don't think about it in a way कि या तो आज ही रिक्रूट किया तो हुआ, वरना चल भाई तू अपने रास्ते में अपने रास्ते. It should not be. That's not the right way. Maybe they don't agree with you today. Maybe they don't trust you enough today. Maybe they have a family to take care of. They have liabilities to pay off. And it's not about the discount they can give you in their salary. It's really about the bet they are going to take on you. And that bet should not mean risk for them. This concept, I will repeat again. It is very, very important to understand that you are taking the risk to build the startup. But everybody who joins you may not subscribe to the same amount of risk. That means, अगर आप उसको जाके बोलते हैं कि भाई साहब कल 0 भी हो सकता है, और वो कहते हैं कि ठीक है भाई साहब फिर मैं आपके साथ काम नहीं करना चाहता, एक्चुअली ये पॉइंट फेयर है. मतलब हो सकता है वो 10% रिस्क को सब्सक्राइब कर रहे हो, 90% वो मान के चल रहे हो कि आपकी गारंटी है. सो बी इट, एंड दैट इज ओके, दैट इज एब्सोल्युटली फाइन. हो सकता है आप इस स्टेज पे ऐसा आदमी ढूंढ रहे हैं जो 50% रिस्क ले सकता है. दैट इज ऑल्सो फेयर. देन यू नो एग्जैक्टली हु यू आर हंटिंग. देन यू ऑल्सो नो कि किसकी रिस्क प्रोफाइल मैच करती है नहीं करती है. ये सब बात करते हुए मुझे मालूम है कि दीज आर इजियर सेड देन डन. आई नो व्हाट आई एम सेइंग. आई ऑल्सो नो दैट ये कॉन्वर्सेशंस डिफिकल्ट है. हमेशा कर पाना भी डिफिकल्ट है. ऐसे स्ट्रेट सोच पाना डिफिकल्ट है. मुझे ये भी पता है कि जिस समय हायर करना है किसी को और डेस्परेशन है, उस समय तो ये हजम करना बहुत ही मुश्किल है. उस समय तो अगर सामने वाला कह रहा है कि अगली फंडिंग आ जाएगी, तो आप कह रहे हो आप चिंता मत करो आ जाएगी. बट ये सब सोचना, उन सभी लोगों से बात करने से पहले या इसके बारे में सोचना will probably give you the right questions. It will tell you what not to talk about, because जितना फायदा कोई अच्छा हायर आपकी कंपनी में आके कर सकता है, उससे ज्यादा नुकसान उसके गलत तरीके से जाने से हो सकता है. तो आप कौन सा ऑप्टिमाइज करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं इज योर चॉइस, बट दैट इज समथिंग दैट यू नीड टू really worry about before you make the hire and not after.